today. This is your boy Roto. I'm here with my boy Jeremy, aka DFS Dudes. We're here to present you our NBA morning shoot around for Wednesday, January 23rd. If you're new to this channel, please make sure and click the subscribe button below. This way you can watch all of my NBA, NFL, and MLB videos. If you haven't came and checked out our website here at dfscheatsheet.com, you're absolutely missing out. We have all the tools to help you compete with the pros day in and day out, including a complete optimizer, tons of content, daily Fanduel, and Draftkings cash lineups. Hey, we're truly a one-stop shop for all your DFS needs. So make sure to check out the site here at dfscheatsheet.com. So, hey, man, we got another monster slate here, 10-game slate. One thing that's really, really irritating me about this whole NBA season when it comes to DFS is, man, everything's becoming really, really chalky, especially on Fanduel. I think Fanduel, with the new drop spot thing that they got going on, I mean, every slate in one way, shape, or form is turning out to be chalky. And if you don't know what chalky is, what I mean by chalky, it's you're getting your players are all 50+% owned, where more than half of the field is playing them. Last night, I felt like we had a really, really good lineup. And of our 9 Fanduel players, I mean, 5 or 6 of them were 60, 70% owned. It's like it's so hard to win. It's so hard to be profitable night in and night out when everybody's completely chalky. You just have to kind of find that one guy, those 2 guys to really differentiate yourself. Jeremy always says it all the time that, to take down the tournament, you don't have to completely fade the chalk. You can have 5 chalky guys, 6 chalky guys. Differentiate yourself in a couple of chalky spots, and that's a way that really works this year, and that hasn't been how it's been the past couple of years. You've been having to have a bunch of guys that are lower owned. But hey, sorry about my rant. I'm just really, really frustrated with how everything is just so chalky every single day. I actually been playing a lot of Yahoo, and I like Yahoo actually. It's been working out very, very well for me. You don't run into the chalky situations. You don't have so many pros over there. So it's something, you can possibly check out, look into. You kind of have the same process of building your lineups every single day. It's just, the pricing is different. That's really what it comes down to. But, hey, how you doing out there, Jeremy?
Look, man, I'm gonna say a couple things real quick off what you're saying. And the first is, I don't care what you're in, you have to evolve. And if you don't evolve, you die. And that's just the way of life. And the rules are what they are, and the news is what it is. And if you can't find a way to be successful within those rules, then you're gonna die. And in this world, die is probably go bust. And what I'm saying is, you have to take a look at plays, and you have to do your homework, and you have to figure out, this all comes down to the same thing, and it'll come down to the same thing every single night. It'll come down to, it's not about chalk. That's the problem. It's not about the chalk. It's about finding value. And what is value? Well, very simply put, it's what the player's salary is and his fantasy points and how many X he goes. And you have to find the best plays. I'll give you a really good example. Van Vliet last night was a really chalky spot. But if you follow and you do your homework every single day like we do, I knew straight up, without a shadow of a doubt, the second they said De'Aaron Fox, about an hour and 20 minutes before lock, was going to be a game-time decision, I was all over Yogi Ferrell, all over him. And I didn't get enough Yogi Ferrell. I should have got more. I should have just went max inner with Yogi Ferrell. But Yogi Ferrell is a perfect example. Did Yogi Ferrell get as many points as Van Vliet? No. But did he get better value than Van Vliet? Absolutely he did. He was a 9.4x, and Van Vliet was only like 7.6. So that's the point. Do your homework, and that's how you differentiate yourself. At the end of the day, it's going to be about the same thing, value and score. And you can't get a good score, and you can't get a score to cash if you don't get value across the board. You don't have to play the chalk, but you also don't have to fade the chalk.
Right, for sure. One thing I quickly just want to kind of mention off of what you're saying, I was actually surprised. I thought last night that Van Vliet was going to be a lot higher owned. And in my cash games, he was only like 33 to 35% owned.
That's because the pros who follow Sacramento and right. do the work we do every day knew Yogi Ferrell and didn't wait until 2 minutes before lock when the lineup was announced, 30 minutes before they announced that De'Aaron Fox was out. If you follow them, the 2 guys you know that 2 nights ago on Martin Luther King Day in Brooklyn, you know that Bogdanovich had 10 assists. You know the guy's passing the ball and playing at a super high level. You know, if you follow the Kings all year long, you know Bogdanovich in injury situations has been the number one beneficiary, and we've said it in our videos all year long. He's more of a point guard on the floor. Even with Fox, the guy looks to pass the ball first. So when Fox is ruled out and Bjelica is ruled out, you know there's three guys right off the bat that are going to move in to starting roles. You know Bagley's in play. You know Giles is going to get a bump, and you know Yogi Ferrell's the other guard they have who's going to start. You just know that. And the biggest beneficiary, Bogdanovich, Bagley, and Ferrell. So you have to follow this thing. That's why coming to a site like ours is worth the $39 a month, because we do this work for you and we put you on those plays.
Right. Yeah, no, for sure. The optimizer definitely had some Bogdanovich. The Ferrell, Yogi Ferrell was the one that I wasn't certain about, just because they like the guy Frank Mason also. So I didn't know kind of which way to go with that one. But the Bogdanovich, I definitely agree with you. That guy's a really, really good player. I like that guy a lot. But hey, enough rambling on. I'm ready to jump into this slate if you're ready to go. And we can just kind of get this slate broken down and get up out of here. So real quick, before we do jump into these games, if you guys don't mind, please take that quick second for me. Click the like button down below. Hey, that really helps me out, guys, and I appreciate that from you guys. Yeah, man, so we'll just jump right into it. So just like we were talking about Van Fleet, we'll start right there, man. You got Toronto Raptors, second in of a back-to-back, going into Indiana to face the Pacers. This game has a 217.5 over under, and Indiana's favored by 6 in this one.
So Van Vliet's really been their most consistent player when it comes to minutes and being able to predict who's going to be the beneficiary of somebody being out, whether it be Kawhi Leonard or whether it be Kyle Lowry. And behind him is Danny Green. So let me just say that. So if Lowry's out, we know Van Vliet's going to start. He's going to run the point. If Leonard's out, we know almost every game Leonard's been out, Danny Green has been the guy who's had the big game without Leonard. So you look at Van Vliet, he's $200 cheaper than he was yesterday. Yesterday came in at 4.8. Today he comes in at 4.6. It's a back-to-back. The exact same guys are out. We know exactly what the rotation is going to look like. You take a look at Kyle Lowry at 7.5. Very fair price here. Very, very fair price on a 10-game slate. For a guy who had 36 fantasy points yesterday and didn't shoot the ball very well. I think he was 3 of 10 from the three-point line. Just didn't shoot the ball very well. You know, if he knocks down 40% of his shots last night and knocks down a couple more free throws, the guy exceeds value at his price tag yesterday. So Siakam, very bad first half, very solid second half, 27 fantasy points I believe he had. Ibaka, 6. These guys are very fair price for a 10-game slate. My opinion, there's 7 guys in play for Toronto tonight. And with the chalk of Boston, this is exactly what I'm talking about. You just need value. So you look at a Rozier and you look at a Van Vliet, and you know, don't just say, oh, let me just load up Rozier because he becomes the automatic chalk today. And then look who gets a pass. Nobody is on Van Vliet. Van Vliet's going to play exactly the same minutes he did yesterday, and he's going to play almost exactly like he did yesterday. So you got the starting 5 in play, and you got Delon Wright and Norman Powell that are also in play for me.
Yeah, no, for sure. I love the point guard spot. Go with Van Fleet and Rozier and just kind of move on. I definitely think that's a really, really good call to kind of get you going tonight. On the Indiana side of things, man, we got some guys back starting to get healthy. You know, one thing I will mention, first thing first, even though Corey Joseph is back as well, Darren Collison has been playing very, very well. This guy, we know that, you know, he can fill up the stat sheet, you know, get you some dimes. He can shoot the ball well, occasionally knock down some threes. And he plays good defense. He gets a bunch of steals, and that's what I like about him. I think he gives you a solid floor. I don't know if I want to pay $6,200 for him, where we need 31 just to hit value. I'm going against a Toronto team who's, you know, generally a pretty good defensive team. Also, you know, the thing about Darren Collison is he only plays, you know, 27 to about the low 30, 31 minutes. I would love for him to play 33, 34 minutes, but I definitely think he can still get there on this price tag. Just more of a GPP play for me. Oladipo, man, 7.8. I mean, I definitely think he's in play. More of a GPP play as well, just because the guy has been so up and down. Past couple games started picking up a little bit, doing a little bit more in other categories besides just scoring with 35. for almost 40 fantasy points. But hey, he's barely, got this. And on a 7.8 price tag, we need about 38, 39 just for value. So he does have upside at this price tag. I will say that. I just don't know, how much I really trust him in my cash games at 7.8. Bogdanovic, he's a guy that's been getting his minutes, been very consistent. 5.4. We need about 27 for him to hit value. He's been up and down. He definitely has been up and down. Like I said, they have a lot of bodies that are really starting to get healthy here in Indiana. They have some good guys that come off the bench as well, so it kind of bites into the starter minutes. The positive from Bogdanovic, he always gets his right around 30 minutes a game, but it's either if he scores the ball well, he's going to have a good fantasy outing. If he doesn't score the ball well, he doesn't really do too many things in other categories. So strictly GPP. And then, just to finish it off with Indiana, you're going to go with their couple big guys. Sabonis, when he starts, he takes care of business. But right now, everybody's healthy, so he's not going to get the start. Miles Turner, 7.2. Not really looking at them, in the little timeshare situation. And then, one guy I do like, you got Thaddeus Young, 5.8. The price tag has came down a little bit. The guy has been playing very well. He's getting consistent minutes, close to 30 minutes a game. I like him as well for GPPs. I definitely think a lot of these guys on this team are in play. I just don't know how much I like it with the fact that everybody is back and healthy right now. So they're kind of cutting into each other's minutes in general. So that's really where I'm at with Indiana.
Moving on.
Next game we're going to go with is going to be Cleveland Cavaliers going into Boston to face the Celtics. This game has a 215.5 over/under. Boston is favored by 15 in this game, even without a Kyrie Irving in the lineup tonight.
So, look, you want to talk about differentiating yourself? Here's a game. I have said this since I've been playing daily fantasy. I'll say it again today. There's going to be 100 points, according to Vegas, that are going to be scored by the Cleveland Cavaliers, okay? Nobody's going to own the Cleveland Cavaliers because of the fact that the game could blow out. But somebody on this team is going to put up value tonight because there's going to be 100 points scored and there's still a game that's going to be played. Who's that going to be? Your guess is probably as good as mine, but I could tell you some people that I like. Forget Zizic. That price at 5.4 is way too expensive. You don't have to pay that tonight to get value at the center spot. But I can tell you that a guy like Jordan Clarkson at 4.7 is a really solid contrarian play tonight. And you could also take a look at Rodney Hood back to playing 26-plus minutes. He's starting at 4.2. The guy can knock down shots. He's a value play at the small forward position. Alec Burks at 3.8. Look, 3.8 for a shooting guard. There's going to be points scored in this game. You just got to figure out where the value's at. You don't have to take these guys all out of play. You have to figure out who you think is going to got the best opportunity to reach value tonight. Other than that, pretty much a full fade. There's other places you can go where the buys aren't as well. But Alec Burks, Rodney Hood, and a GPP, I don't mind it as a low-owned play. And then, Jordan Clarkson always has that upside at a 4.7 in a game that could blow out where the bench would see extended run.
Yeah, man. On the Boston side of things, I'm gonna keep it short and simple. Pretty much the whole team is in play. They're short. They're short right now. You got Terry Rozier. He's going to be the ultimate chalk tonight. 4.5. Honestly, just put him in your lineup and move on for cash games. Marcus Smart 5.3. He's going to start at the shooting guard spot, and he's going to come in and play some backup point guard minutes as well. He gets a bump. You got Jaylen Brown 4.3. Last time Kyrie was out, I think Kyrie was out for 2 games, and Jaylen Brown, he had 1 game which he kind of dudded, and then the next game he had like a really, really monster game. So it's just kind of really how it is. I think it was this Orlando and Brooklyn. Actually, let me look real quick. I can tell you really, really fast right now. But hey, hold on for me 1 second. I just want to.
Hey, bro.
Yes.
Real quick, let me just – I'm going to give an example real quick, and we can move on because I think everybody – we're all up on who to play from Boston tonight, right? I mean, did you want to mention anything else on that?
I mean, honestly, it's just you play Smart. You can play Jaylen Brown. Gordon Hayward's in play. Jason Tatum and Morris. And then, we know that Al Horford's out. If Baines is going to get the start and Baines is going to play 25 minutes at 3,700, I think he's another guy that you can lock in your cash games as well. I definitely think he has some upside. So, I mean, for me, pretty much it's just there's some key guys out for Boston. You can pretty much play everybody on the team.
So, last night, let me ask you a question. At the center position, who was the chalk?
Towns.
absolute chalk, right? 51% owned in tournaments, and he was like, what, 78 or 79% owned in cash?
85.
85% owned in cash. So do you know who the center was in all of the winning tournament lineups last night?
I didn't even see who was it. DeAndre Jordan?
DeAndre Jordan. So
Yeah.
the price difference between the two of them, right? So let me just use that as the example to piggyback off what we said when we opened the video, and then we'll move on. So Baines is going to be highly owned today because he's 3.7. He's starting. The guy's been a solid backup. We've seen him in this spot go for 29, 30, 34 points before, right? He'll be pretty chalky tonight. It's a pay down spot, allows you to go get James Harden, etc. Okay, we know that. Last night, Towns was in the exact same chalk spot in a crush spot against Phoenix. But what happens is DeAndre Jordan also exceeded value last night at 7.2, right? He exceeded value, went for 54 fantasy points, I believe. And what that does is it allows you to pay up somewhere else or differentiate your lineup. And DeAndre Jordan was low owned, so when everybody last night in tournaments was getting the same exact points from Towns, the people who had DeAndre Jordan were the ones who were actually moving up the leaderboard. And that's the difference between not having to play all of the chalk that's on the slate on a given night. And you could do the same thing here with Baines. That's my point. Build a couple of lineups where you got Vucevic. We'll get to Vucevic later, but Jesus, against Brooklyn tonight, have we not played centers against Brooklyn every single time, right? So it's just a way to differentiate yourself because at the end of the day, all you're looking for is the same thing. Who can reach value?
For sure. Yeah, no, for sure. I agree. So just quickly reviewing Boston. Pretty much everybody's in play with Kyrie Irving and Horford out. I mean, they're going to have a lot of value on the Boston side of things. They're going to be very chalky tonight. Moving on to the next game. Next game we're going to go to is going to be the Houston Rockets going into New York to face the Knicks. This game has a 227 over-under, and Houston's favored by 8 in this one.
So I'm going to start here, right, with Nene. So this is my problem with Nene and playing Nene is that you don't know what the minutes are going to be, and he's too old to give you solid minutes. So even though he's starting, and I know we've got Baines at a similar price point, I just want to make sure that I hit the fact that he doesn't have the same opportunity, and you remove him right away from your player pool. Just take him out. Don't even give yourself any. You generate 150 lineups. Don't even leave him in there. That's part of the process. Take out people you feel can't reach value. That's one of them. James Harden at 13.5, down 500, and he's down 500 based off of stats and not what actually happened in reality. Corey Brewer should be fined by the NBA for what he did to get the fouls on James Harden to put that game where that game went. Though that completely turned that Philadelphia game around. The beneficiary of that is us. We get James Harden at a reduced price of 13.5. Going against the Knicks, the Rockets don't play D. I love James Harden tonight. Don't mind paying up for him. There's plenty of value on the board to get there. To me, he's a clear-cut number one play on the slate. PJ Tucker, Eric Gordon, Austin Rivers, they're all in play. Use them in tournaments. I don't think any of them are safe for cash. They're all tournament plays. Kenneth Faried's a very interesting tournament play depending on how many minutes he's going to get. Priced at $5,000, it's a little bit inflated. Gerald Green and James Ennis and Gary Clark all in the same boat. GPP only. Don't mind a little bit of exposure to them because of the minutes that they're playing at their price tag. Outside of that, play James Harden for Houston and move on.
Yeah, man, on the Knicks side of things, I mean, it's tough. It's a murky situation. You got Moutier, you got Trey Burke. They're kind of going back and forth. You got Nicotina in the mix as well. So, I mean, it's a log jam for minutes. I mean, Moutier at Casey gets low 30s, but it's not a guarantee, and 6.3 price tag is kind of a little bit pricey for him. Not going to look at him. Tim Hardaway, 5,700, very fair price tag. But the guy's just so hit or miss. I mean, you could throw him in a couple GPP lineups to kind of see how it goes. He's a guy, this is his kind of game. Up-tempo game, back and forth. I could see him trying to duel with, James Harden a little bit. But he's just not getting the minutes. That's really what's going on with these Knicks guys is the minutes are all over the place. They like playing this guy, Kevin Knox, the rookie. He's one guy that, for the most part, he's been getting consistent minutes, around the 30. But this guy, for being a big guy, he's really scoring dependent. I mean, if he scores a ball, he's going to have a monster fantasy day for you. And if he doesn't, he's not really going to get there. Vonleh, they committed to him earlier in the season. He was playing a ton of minutes. His minutes have been down a little bit as well. Last game he did play 32 minutes, but before that, you can see the stretch. He wasn't really getting the minutes. Lastly, you can look at Enes Kanter. Everybody's out. All the big guys. Actually, hold on for me. Did Mitchell come back already?
Yeah.
Okay, Mitchell,
Yes.
but I know Cornette is out. And they're saying that Kanter is going to get back in the starting lineup. And we know Kanter, 6,200, if he's going to play minutes, 20, for example, if you're going to tell me that Kanter is going to play 25, even I'll take 25 minutes. 25 minutes against Houston Rockets he's going to be going against Nene, who only plays 15 minutes, and they're going to put a bunch of small guys like Kenneth Faried, like PJ Tucker on him. Oh, Enes Kanter can have an absolute field day. I was watching Embiid going against Houston the other day, and the announcers, they called it from the very beginning of the game. They were like, Houston is so small right now. They have no real big guys. Embiid should have an easy 30-plus actual scoring game tonight, and sure enough, he did. Really good big guys. And I consider Enes Kanter a good big guy. Any good big guy that goes against the Rockets right now is going to generally have a good game. And Enes Kanter is a guy that can run back and forth as well. So I'm really, really interested in Enes Kanter, especially for GPPs. And if we were going to find out that he was going to start and play 25 to 28 minutes, I definitely think you could look at him in cash game as well. We just got to wait on the news and see kind of what we hear in that spot.
No, Kanter is starting. They've already said. They said it yesterday.
Right,
So
but
he will start.
How many minutes he's going to get? That's my thing.
Oh no, yeah. Well, look, I think that you look at two things, right? And you look at one with Noah Vonleh. You hit the nail right on the head when you said his minutes had been down until the last game when he got 24 minutes. Well, why did he get extra run? He got extra run because Luke Cornette got hurt. So with Luke Cornette getting hurt, we can automatically assume Vonleh should get 24 to 26 minutes and probably be the guy who's the biggest beneficiary of Cornette being hurt. And like you said, they've committed to him early in the year. He was the guy who stepped in and got the run when Cornette went down. Yes, Kanter also got some run as well. I also like Mitchell Robinson, man. I really think he's a really good GPP play. For 700 more, you're really in a battle of value between him and Baines. And like you said, this is a spot where big guys absolutely should be able to crush against a centerless Houston team.
Yeah, no, for sure. Moving on to the next game. Next game we're going to go with is going to be the Los Angeles Clippers on the second end of a back-to-back going into Miami to face the Heat. This game has a 217 over-under. Miami's favored by 5.5 in this one.
I like Tobias Harris to rebound here. Had a terrible night shooting the ball last night. I really like for him to rebound a little bit. The guy's a very solid power forward. One thing I want to mention here, you have to take a look and pay attention because guys have switched spots. Fanduel has moved guys around. You got a J.J. Redick now as a small forward. You got Tobias Harris who's moved from power forward to small forward. There's guys all over the slate tonight that are at different positions. You have to pay attention to where these guys are at now. So Tobias Harris is no longer a power forward. He is now a small forward on FanDuel. So you have to pay attention to some of these spots where guys have moved. Having said that, Harrell's in play at 7.5. They rotate big men like I don't know, like maybe like people change their underwear, man. I don't know what's going on in Miami, but nobody is getting solid minutes. You take a look at a James Johnson game log. The guy's playing between 18 and 24 minutes, and he's not putting up any fantasy points whatsoever. But he's getting minutes, right? So they have you say it all the time, they've got a clog there. I like the fact that what the Clippers do, they keep their rotation tight. Their guys, they play a lot of guys, but they play a lot of guys who get a lot of minutes. Alexander was a kind of a chalkier play until the injury news in Sacramento last night. I look for Alexander to get good run again tonight. He's just having a terrible time shooting the basketball. Off the bench, Lou Williams, 6.5. We need to figure out if he's going to be on a minutes limit again tonight. If he's going to be limited to 20 minutes or something like that on a back-to-back, coming back from injury, I don't know how much I want to play him at 6.5 when I could pay up for a DeMar DeRozan or I could pay up for a Victor Oladipo with just another $1,000 or so. So, coming off the bench, I'm not really messing with any of their bench players today just for that reason. It's a back-to-back. They play a lot of guys. I understand Gallinari is out, but, you've moved Harris to the small forward. You got Harrell in the starting lineup. Beverly's the guy who seems to be the biggest beneficiary of Gallinari going down, and that's a guy I also like at 5.5. If you want to get contrarian and maybe fade a Rozier or fade a Van Vliet, you can plug in a Patrick Beverly, who, I think he had 35 fantasy points last night. He's been the beneficiary of the Gallinari injury for sure.
Yeah, man. And then, like you said, you took the words pretty much right out of my mouth. There's a logjam in Miami. They're pretty healthy right now. Outside of Goran Dragic, they pretty much have all their guys back. And there's a lot of guys that are really, really guard orientated. And then they got 4 big guys that they're rotating. So it's like they're deep. They're a deep team, and they're trying to get everybody minutes. That's what's really going on. I think, 4 guys I'm going to be looking at all strictly GPP. But you can look at a Dwayne Wade. It's his last season. They're giving him his minutes. They want to get him to go out on top. So I think that 4.9 is a fair price tag for him. We know that Dwayne Wade has 40 fantasy point upside. Another guy, Deion Waiters, he's coming back from injury. This is a guy last year. They absolutely love this guy. They played him so many minutes. His minutes are starting to trend back up. 21 and 25 minutes in the past 2. And this is a guy who, he could score the ball. He could fill up the stat sheet. 30, 22 fantasy points, nothing special. But, we'll take that on this price tag. And if he's going to get, a couple extra minutes, then I definitely think he has a little bit more upside. Small forward position, Josh Richardson. The guy, he's kind of, trending down a little bit, but I think he's a little bit tired. They're playing this guy 38, 39 minutes a game earlier in the year, and I kind of think it's really starting to catch up to him. But the price tag is down as well, and we know he does have some upside. So I definitely think Richardson's in play. Lastly, Justice Winslow. They like this young dude right here. They play him. Sometimes he plays the point forward. He plays the big man position at power forward, plays shooting guard. They like having this guy on the floor. He's a guy that really, really fills up the stat sheet. And when he gets minutes, he definitely produces in all categories. So I definitely think he's a GPP play as well. And that's really it for me. I'm going to stick with those 4 guys. You talked about it. You got Bam. You got James Johnson. You got Olynyk. And you got White. Really splitting minutes at the power forward and center position. So I'm just sticking to Dwayne Wade, Deion Waiters, Richardson, Winslow, all GPP plays, and I'm ready to move on.
Yep.
Next game we're going to go with is going to be the Orlando Magic going into Brooklyn to face the Nets. This game has a 219 over-under, and Brooklyn's favored by 5.5 in this one.
So, look, I'm going to ride or die until he falls off with Terrence Ross. Terrence Ross is a phenomenal play. I don't know how his price tag is not moving. The guy put up 28.9 fantasy points in the first half on Monday against Atlanta. He only put up 8 in the second half, but if you watch that game like I did, they didn't play him at all in the third quarter. They didn't even bring him in until like the 10-minute mark of the fourth quarter, and then at that point, they were having a hard time even finding him. They weren't giving him an opportunity to make any shots, and he still got another 8 points in limited minutes only in the fourth quarter. So this guy is a great shooter. I said it on the last video. When a shooter's hot, you ride the hot streak. I will ride Terrence Ross again tonight in a really good matchup against Brooklyn. You have to like Vucevic at 9.9. Any center going against Brooklyn is going to be a good play as far as I'm concerned. Aaron Gordon is expected to play today at 6.8. I think 6.8 is actually a very fair price tag for Aaron Gordon in this matchup, unless we hear something about his minutes being restricted. If we do hear that, then obviously, you got to take that with a grain of salt. But the guy's had a 50-point game and then 2 35-point games. If you get 35 out of him at a 6.8 price tag, that's more than value. With the upside that Aaron Gordon brings to the table of a 40 or 44-point game at a 6.8 price tag, you got to love him as well in this spot. It's a very, very fair price for a guy who's been in the 8,000s and been overpriced as far as my opinion is for a very long time this season. So 6.8. I like that. I think it's a very good GPP play. Jonathan Isaac, another guy getting a lot of run at 5.1 at that small forward spot. Isaac had a really good game against Atlanta. He had a really good game the game before that where he had 22 fantasy points in the first half and didn't accumulate any fantasy points in the second half, and then had a really strong game against Atlanta Monday. Playing a lot of minutes. The guy's very skilled. He does disengage, but he can block shots. He can rebound. He can knock down the 3. Nice little mid-range game as well. It's just kind of a logjam for shots. Not necessarily they're playing a lot of guys, but it's kind of a logjam for shots, and you got a guy like Ross and Fournier who knock down a lot of shots. So Isaac kind of becomes that 4th option. I would expect him to be a 5th option tonight if Aaron Gordon plays. You got Gordon, Vucevic, DJ Augustine, Fournier, and, of course, Terrence Ross.
Yeah, man. So, on the Brooklyn side of things, you start with the man himself. You got D'Angelo Russell playing absolutely out of his mind. Going to be going head to head pretty much with Evan Fournier, a guy that's not really doesn't scare me as a defender. And this guy D'Angelo Russell, I mean, check it out. He got 45 fantasy points in 4 of his past 5 games. Yes, he's shooting the ball well, but he's also dishing the ball, getting some steals, there's some rebounds. The guy's just been playing very well in general. He faced Orlando one time this year already. And, man, he had a monster game. He went off for 40 real-life scoring points, 2 rebounds, 7 assists, and still for 54 fantasy points. So he's showing us upside against Orlando in this matchup. I think that's where you got to start. After that, I mean, I don't really know, where to go. I don't really want to play Jarrett Allen going against Vucevic. Vucevic is a good offensive player. Definitely think he can get in foul trouble. They're not really giving, Hollis Jefferson no minutes, even though he's at almost a bare minimum price tag. Joe Harris, Carroll, they're kind of splitting minutes. I think Carroll probably has a little bit more upside if I had to go between them two. And then you could quickly look at Spencer Dinwiddie. Dinwiddie's a guy who plays 28 to 30 minutes off the bench. He is their sixth man. Earlier this year against Orlando, didn't have the best game. I mean, he scored 20 real-life points, but he only got you 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 turnovers for 23 fantasy points. I definitely think he can give us 35 fantasy points in this matchup. But for me, on the Brooklyn side of things, I'm just really looking at D'Angelo Russell, and I'm ready to move on.
I think Jarrett Allen is interesting for GPPs. Okay. I do.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, 6,000, not bad at all. I just think, if I'm going to go for, I'm probably going to pay down at center. I think that's really the way to go. Pay down or Vucevic. Vucevic is in a great spot, and there's a couple other guys that we can look at center. So I'm ready to move on to the next game. If you are, next game that we are going to go with, it is going to be the Detroit Pistons going into New Orleans to face the Pelicans. We currently know that Anthony Davis has been ruled out already. He's out for a couple weeks. We're waiting on some Drummond news. He's in concussion protocol right now. This game has a 223 over-under, and New Orleans favored by 4 in this one.
So Ish Smith is doubtful, and he's expected to not play. So I know this is a game-time decision, expected to not play. He's doubtful. That's important when it comes to Reggie Jackson, Reggie Bullock, Bruce Brown, these other perimeter players. Andre Drummond, game-time decision, dealing with concussion and the concussion protocol. He did participate in morning shoot-around. I say this all the time with NFL. If you hear a guy is active and he's out participating, he's cleared protocol because you have to progress through 2 or 3 stages before you can do activity. He's doing the activity. I look for Drummond to play tonight at 9.1. Using the same kind of analogy I used with the Cleveland game, there's 109 points that are going to be scored by the Pistons tonight. There are guys who are going to put up fantasy points as this spot really is. I think it's a great opportunity for tournaments to get exposure at lower ownerships and not obvious spots. People are not going to pay 9.8 for Blake Griffin tonight. They're just not going to. With all of the value that's on the board, people are going to find a way to pay it for James Harden. They just are. It's just the way the builds are going to go. So if you want to play 9.8 for Blake Griffin tonight, I think it's really contrarian, but I don't think it's a bad play. 9.1 for Drummond if he's going to play. The guy has been a double-double machine this year, going against a Jahlil Okafor who had a great game against Memphis, but it's still Jahlil Okafor. The guy's got to kind of put these numbers up kind of consistently for me to think that he's back to being the player he was in his rookie year with Philadelphia. Reggie Jackson at 5,000. If Ish Smith is in fact out, he will be the guy who's the biggest beneficiary of usage because Ish Smith won't cut into his minutes like they kind of share minutes like the guard situation in Indiana. But for me, I'm going to look at the big guys here with Blake Griffin and Andre Drummond. I think the perimeter is kind of a logjam, and you've got really good perimeter players and defenders in New Orleans.
Yeah, man, no, for sure. One thing I just quickly want to know, I feel Blake Griffin at 9.8. If Drummond is out, I think he's like an excellent play. If Drummond is in, I still think that Blake Griffin is a good play, but the price tag scares me a little bit more, if that makes sense.
Right. My thing is this with this situation. They have such a limited roster, right? And if they're going to score 109 points tonight, you have to look at percentage of offense. And the bulk majority of their usage and points is Griffin and Drummond. That's the bulk majority of it. Right. So they're going to score 109 points. one of these two guys is going to exceed value, and the other guy is going to come really close to meeting value.
Yeah, no, I definitely would agree for sure. So on the New Orleans side of things, with no, Anthony Davis, I definitely think. I mean, there's a lot of guys we could look at. I like Alfred Payton, 5.7. Played him the other day, and he didn't have the best game for me. He got me, 19.6 fantasy points. The guy just didn't shoot the ball well. I think he was like 2 for 12 or something like that. The guy he's still trying to get, back from injury, but the price tag is reflecting that 5.7. The positive about it, though, is with Anthony Davis being out, Peyton did get some minutes, some extra run minute wise. First time playing 32 minutes and what, probably like 10, almost 10, almost 10 games. And he's a guy that fills up the stat sheet, man. He can drop dimes, play a little defense. I don't know if he's not necessarily my favorite play, but I think he's a good GPP play with some upside at this price tag. Drew Holiday, I think he's the main guy that you got to look at. Him and Mirotic, I think, are the main dudes that you got to look at with no Anthony Davis. I mean, every time Anthony Davis out, this guy is the one who just carries the team. I mean, drops dimes. He scores whenever they need a big basket. I mean, this guy just knows how to score the ball. He gets some extra rebounds as well. You can see last game got 11 rebounds. That was the first time him getting double-digit rebounds, and almost just the first time we got one time other than this season where he got double-digit rebounds. So he's going to get some extra rebounds with no Anthony Davis. I definitely think he's the guy that you really want to look at. The only problem is the price tag is up there. It's not a give me price tag. We need about 47 just for value. Definitely think he can get there. But the price tag, I think, puts him a little bit more in GPP area instead of cash game, where if he was like 8,500, then I definitely think he would be a really good cash game play. Mirotic, 6.7. I definitely think he is a really good cash game play. He's underpriced. He should be about 7,500 right now. This guy is just getting a ton of shots with no Anthony Davis. They're going to need him to score the ball. Definitely think he gives you a solid floor. He plays some good defense as well. Love Mirotic in this spot. And then you could also look at Randall. Randall, 8,900. His minutes get bumped up as well with no Anthony Davis, and I think he gives us a really, really solid floor. I mean, he's got you at least 35 fantasy points in 6 straight games. Hey, I like Randall. I like his upside. He has 50 fantasy point upside any night, and the minutes should be up a little bit. And then lastly, you mentioned him, Jalil Okafor, 5,500. I mean, the price tag isn't a give me price tag. We still need about 27 for him to hit value. But if he's going to play 30 minutes a game at a 5.5 price tag, I definitely think that you got to consider him. It's just all about if we think he's going to get these minutes. And for me, I think I'm going to wait one more game on him. And if he does, solid again this game and he's going to stay right around 5.5, then I'll trust the minutes a little bit more and I can kind of go with that well. But with just one game where he played 35 minutes, and before that he didn't play very minutes at all, and I don't know how long. I think it's one more game. I want to see the wait-and-see approach on Okafor. So I'm just going to stick with really my main guys are Holiday, Mirotic, Randall, and you can throw a little bit of Peyton in GPP.
Man, Mirotic is by far, to me, the best play on that side of things, man. That's our rule, right? Davis is out. Load up Mirotic.
Yeah, he's underpriced, very underpriced. Next game we're going to go with is going to be the San Antonio Spurs going to Philadelphia to face the Sixers. This game has a 226 over-under, and Philadelphia is favored by 3.5 in this one.
DeMar DeRozan, and that's where it's at, and for a couple of reasons. He just burned every single DFS player who had him a couple of days ago when he was ruled out. At this price tag, actually it was 7.8. He's at 7.7. I'm going to say the same exact things I said about him the other day. He's filling up the stat sheet in every category across the board. This is a very fair price for DeMar DeRozan. The guy's a 9,000-plus player. He's every bit as good as a Drew Holiday is on this slate, and just the same opportunity. This guy will dish the ball. He'll rebound it. That's the thing that's up for him this year by far. His assist numbers are through the roof as compared to years past. He's the on-ball player. He's the guy who's got the ball. He's their high-usage player. I love him in this spot. That's really about it for me. I don't mind some of these other guys if you want to get them as contrarian plays, but I just don't think you need to get exposure to a Derek White or a Bryn Forbes or a Patty Mills tonight. There's other guys in better spots who will have a better opportunity to reach and exceed value tonight than plugging these guys in and taking a chance on them. I think that that's what you guys start doing is you have to eliminate players that don't have the opportunity to reach value or that you just don't have to play. DeMar DeRozan's the only guy on the slate. You have to play DeMar DeRozan at 7.7. You can't not play him. And I'm not saying in every lineup, but you have to have exposure to DeMar DeRozan at 7.7.
Yeah, no, I get you. And then, I mean, on the Philadelphia side of things, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't have much to say. The reason is it's not that there's not a lot of good plays. I really like Joel Embiid and I like JJ Redick a lot in this spot. The problem is we have to wait and find out what's going on. You got Ben Simmons, a game time decision. He's sick. Jimmy Butler missed last game because he was sick. I think he's going to come back today. If both of those guys were to be out because of a lingering, sickness, then there's going to be a lot of value. There's going to be a lot of opportunity for these other Philadelphia guys. I just want to wait and kind of see where we're at. One thing I do want to say, if Ben Simmons is out, I think a guy I'm really, really going to target is going to be TJ McConnell. I think he'll step into that point guard role. And we see McConnell in the past, man. When he gets 30 minutes in a game, the guy could fill up the stat sheet. He got a triple-double last year, 4.2 if he was going to start in Ben Simmons' place. Definitely think he would be a premier punt play. Would absolutely love him in this spot. And then we got to wait on Jimmy Butler. If he's out, then I think the guy that you got to look at is going to be Corey Brewer. He's the one that started in place for Jimmy Butler last game. Wilson Chandler's not playing bad right now. He's a guy that he's a starter, and he's been getting his minutes, and he's really starting to kind of pick it up a little bit. He's playing close to 30 minutes a game, and at this price tag, it's still dirt cheap. We just need 21 for him to hit value. But that's really it for me, man. I'm just I like Redick, and I like Joel Embiid either way. And then there is some guys that definitely get a bump if Ben Simmons or Jimmy Butler is out, but we got to kind of wait on that news. Cool. Next game we're going to go to, it is going to be the Charlotte Hornets going into Memphis to face the Grizzlies. This game has a 209.5 over under, and Memphis is favored by 1 in this one. Yo.
There?
Oh, yeah. So we're on Charlotte right now. Get us started with the Charlotte side of things.
Jeremy Lamb is probably the best play here to me at 6,000. 26.6 minutes is what he's averaged over his last 5 games. The guy's been a model of consistency. I just think that this is the one spot that I like to get exposure to. We know what happens with Kemba Walker when he moves on the road. His home road splits are completely different. He's not playing very good basketball right now from a fantasy perspective. He's averaging about 35 fantasy points. That doesn't get his value. And on this slate, I just don't see the reason to pay $9,000 for Kemba Walker. Outside of that, I'm not really looking to get much exposure to Charlotte.
Yeah, I think this game's kind of ugly in general. Even on the Memphis side of things, you could look at Mike Conley. Definitely think Mike Conley's in play for GPP. You can look at Marc Gasol. He's a game-time decision right now. Joakim Noah is already ruled out as well, who is Marc Gasol's backup. So it's a third straight game that he's questionable with the game-time decision. Last game he did play against New Orleans, played 34 minutes, had a solid game. If he's going to play and he's going to play his full complement of minutes, I definitely think he is in play. We just got to kind of take a wait-and-see approach and see more close to lock what's going on with his situation, his back. If, Marc Gasol was going to be ruled out, I think two guys that would really get a big bump would be Jaren Jackson and JaMychal Green. I think they could possibly start next to each other and get some extended run. If Marc Gasol is out, like I said, we got to kind of wait on and see what's going on with that situation. But outside of that, I'm not really interested. Justin Holiday, he's in the starting lineup for them, but he's 5,000. He's not that give me price tag under 4K at minimum value anymore. So for me, it's just really Mike Conley, Gasol if he plays, and if he doesn't play, Jaren Jackson and JaMychal Green get a bump.
Moving on.
Next game we're going to go to is going to be the Atlanta Hawks going into Chicago to face the Bulls. This game has a 224 over-under, and Chicago's favored by 1.5 in this one. And whether I want to say this or not, bro, I actually have a lot of interest in this game.
So I have a lot of interest in this game too, but it's not really on the Atlanta side, to be honest with you. I mean, outside of Prince, I have interest in Prince at 4.4. His minutes are going up. And the more he gets on the floor and the more he gets back into a rhythm, it's just a matter of time before he has a monster 10x game. Tonight is a really good opportunity for him to go for 40 fantasy points. I have a lot of
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I was reading something earlier. They said that he may possibly get a pushback in the starting lineup tonight.
Prince is supposed to start tonight. That's the deal, and that's what I'm saying. His minutes are going up. If you just look at his game log, they've held him down. Each game, his minutes have gone up by a couple. If he's going to go to the starting lineup tonight, it's only a matter of time before this guy has a 10x game against Chicago. I think it's a really good opportunity for him to go for 40 fantasy points if he's going to start and get 25 to 30 minutes, which I think he will tonight. So outside of him, I don't have a lot of other interest in the Atlanta side of this game. I do agree I have a lot of interest in this game, but I don't see places I need to go get exposure to certain guys in this spot because of value. You start looking across the board, and at center, is Dwayne Dedmon going to outperform Enes Kanter at the same price spot? Is he going to outperform, and I'm talking about value, not just raw fantasy points, is he going to outperform Aaron Baines? The other ways we have to build tonight, a Dedmon, a Trae Young, a John Collins, are these guys going to outperform value and make it where they're a must play in this spot? The only guy to me that's in a must play is a Tyron Prince. I don't know how you don't play him if he starts tonight with his minutes going up, with his upside, and the opportunity for him to go 7, 8, 9x tonight.
Yeah, no, I agree. I really like Prince tonight as well. He's a guy that I really have high on my list. On the Bulls side of things, I mean, there's a few guys I definitely think you could look at. First, you start with Chris Dunn, Zach LaVine. Those are the two guards. Both of them guys, in my opinion, are going to be future all-stars. The guys are both playing very, very well. I think they give you a solid floor on their price tag. I don't know how much upside they necessarily give you because they're not giving you price tags, but I do like both of those guys. I like Lauri Markkanen as well, 6,900. He's a guy that we know can fill up the stat sheet, get hot, light it up for the three-point line, and he's really getting some minutes. He's getting consistent minutes. He's a guy that I like. And then two more guys I'm going to quickly throw in there. I mean, Bobby Portis, he is coming off the bench now, I understand, but they do like playing this guy minutes. And this guy is a fantasy point per minute monster. When he's out there, he produces. That's one thing we know about Bobby Portis, so I definitely think he's in play. And lastly, we talked about punt plays at center. We talked about Baines. We talked about a couple other guys. Robin Lopez, man, if he's going to start and he's going to get 25 minutes in this game, I definitely think he's a punt play. 3,800. All we need for value is about 19. And, they started giving him minutes again the past 3 games. In 2 of the past 3 games, he produced. He got you 25 and 28 fantasy points. That's what, 5, 6x, 7x on this price tag. So I definitely think that Robin Lopez is in play if he's going to start and get some minutes as a punt play at your center position. I don't know how much upside he really gives you, but I definitely think that, he can get you 5 times X and you can kind of pay up elsewhere. But that's really where I'm at with the Bulls. If I missed anybody, feel free to kind of chime in real quick.
No, I think that you hit the nail on the head with Robin Lopez. Really good pivot. I wouldn't call him a punt. I think if he's going to start, he's a really good pivot off of Aaron Baines. Build a lineup with Baines. Build the same lineup. Throw Robin Lopez in there. I also really don't mind the guy. There's 2 guys on this slate at point guard that I think are really good contrarian plays and pivots off of what the chalk should be tonight at the paydown spots. And one of them is Chris Dunn, and the other one's Kyle Lowry. I think their prices are so fair for what they're bringing to the table and the games they're playing in. Love both those guys. Chris Dunn's a guy that, I don't mind paying up for him in this spot tonight.
Yeah, no, for sure. I definitely like the guards, and I definitely think they have a little bit of upside for sure. They both have 40 fantasy point upside, and they're going to be going against, like you said, Chris Dunn. He's going to be going against Trae Young. Who's scared of Trae Young defense? You know what I mean? Like, seriously. But, yeah, hey, we'll move on to this last game.
One thing I want to throw out there before we move on, just in case people don't know, right, and I just want to make sure we do our due diligence here. Do not play Carmelo Anthony. Do not play Carmelo Anthony as He's not playing. The Lakers are the odds-on favorite to get the guy. The Bulls released him, I believe, this morning.
I hope.
Do not play
I hope,
Carmelo Anthony.
I hope that he doesn't come to the Lakers, bro. I fucking hope he doesn't come. That Carmelo's just a cancer, bro.
I think Carmelo's got some basketball left in him, and I think that if he can come to a team where he'll buy into playing a solid bench role,
Yeah, well, that's
I think
the problem. He wants to start.
Yeah, but I don't think I think if he look, it's well documented that him and LeBron have always wanted to play together. LeBron couldn't get him to go to Cleveland. If you remember that free agency year,
Right.
when he wanted to recruit guys to Cleveland, he couldn't get him to go to Cleveland. Look, Carmelo lives there in LA. His wife, are they still together? What's his wife's name? Lala.
Yeah.
They're still right.
Yeah.
She's got a show that she does in LA. I think that if the guy's going to play basketball, I just think it's a really good fit where he can come to a team where he lives and not have anything expected out of him. I would love to see him buy into a bench role at the Lakers and really solidify a bench unit and really get a guy like him. And you've got the Lakers have good players. They kind of need a veteran leadership role out of a bench guy. Come solidify the bench because you've got really good bench players the Lakers could have when LeBron comes back, and he could solidify a bench unit and make them deep.
Yeah. No, I mean, I get it. And I definitely think Carmelo still has some basketball in him. It's just like, fuck, everywhere he goes, he's just cancer. I mean, and like you said, though, if he buys in and said, okay, I understand I'm going to come here, I'm going to come off the bench, and I'm only going to play 24 minutes a game, and he accepts that, I definitely think he can help us out. It's just, will he accept that role is what I think is the biggest kind of thing with him. You know what I mean?
I mean, look, to me, you bring in Carmelo Anthony and you go with the one thing they've got to do also is they've got to make a decision with the center spot. And I think that you either start Zizic or you make him your number one, big coming off the bench and you give him 25 minutes.
I think
to me,
man.
To me, I would love to see Zizic Zubac start, right?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry.
I would love to see Zubac start, and then you bring in a Carmelo Anthony, and you take a look at a bench that has a Michael Beasley, a Lance Stevenson, a Josh Hart, a Carmelo Anthony, and like a JaVale McGee Chandler.
Rondo.
That's a solid bench, bro.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Nah, I'm not even putting Rondo in that category because Rondo's the guy that I think the Lakers should start.
Yeah, no, me too. But I don't think that they will. So you were talking about the backup point guard. It's either going to be Rondo or Lonzo. But either way, if you throw Rondo or Lonzo in there with the other guys you just mentioned, like that's a fire second unit for sure.
Right.
All right, so for sure, let's move on to this last game. It's going to be the Denver Nuggets going into Utah to face the Jazz. This game has a 217 over under, and Utah's favored by 5 in this one.
Call me crazy, but I'm going to tell you right now, there's some really good plays in this game. And I'm going to start first with Jamal Murray at 6.9. The guy's got 40-plus upside. We know he does. It's a very good Denver team, a team that I think is very underrated. I'm not sure how many people actually realize they are the second seed in the West right now. This is a very, very good basketball team, and their starting point guard is 6.9. Very contrarian play tonight. Another guy I would add to the list of Lowry and Dunn that I don't mind paying up 6.9 for because this guy can exceed that all day long. Utah is a tough team, but they're not the same defensive team they've been in years past. They're just not. So I really like him in this spot. I think Paul Millsap is a really interesting tournament play at 5.5 because of the fact that you will need Paul Millsap to have a really good game for them to be successful because of Rudy Gobert and Derek Favors and Jay Crowder coming off the bench. You will need a Millsap to really be that gritty player to go rebound, box out, and do the things required for them to really be successful in this game. I think those two guys are really solid tournament plays tonight. I'm not really interested in their bench. Will Barton and Gary Harris are on a minutes limit. If you guys aren't aware of that, I think this is smart. They've kind of said, you know what, screw this. These guys are hurt so much. Let's put them on a minutes limit, and we've got these other bench players that can step up. And you've seen that now with Malik Beasley and Torrey Craig starting and projected to start again tonight because those guys are on a minutes limit. So what it does for their perimeter, it clogs it up. It kind of makes it like Miami's front court with all those big guys. You can avoid that, but the one guy that's going to play is going to be Jamal Murray, and the other guy, the two guys that are going to play alongside him are going to be Millsap and Jokic. I think Jokic, very interesting. This guy always gets up to play another solid big guy, and he just brings so much to the table from a passing standpoint, from a rebounding standpoint, and then the scoring. So I think Jamal Murray, Jokic, and Millsap, very interesting, very contrarian plays. I'm a big believer that you have to have at least one, if not three pieces in late games in order to move up a leaderboard because they're just typically lower-owned guys in those late spots that help you move up. So I think there's really good plays on both sides in this game.
Yeah, man. I mean, on the Jazz side of things, I mean, it's a little bit cloudy for me just because, I mean, Gobert's going to get his, but do I want to pay 10.2 against Jokic? That's kind of going against our rule that we always talk about, big man against big man. But one of them going to get in foul trouble. It's a classic example. I really like Donovan Mitchell, 8.3. The only problem is he's been on fire. He's been playing very, very well. But this was when he was acting as the starting point guard, had a ton of usage. The ball was in his hands a lot. We do have Ricky Rubio projected to be back in the starting lineup today, which is going to push Donovan Mitchell back to the starting two guard and take away a lot of usage from him. As well as Rubio coming back, it's going to take away somewhat from Royce O'Neal, who's been getting a lot of run and playing very well as well. One guy I still think will get his will still be Jay Crowder. They like playing Jay Crowder a lot. Joe Ingles has been he's a fair price tag, but I mean he's been very, very streaky right now. He hasn't been playing the best the past couple of games. The minutes are there. He's playing 30-plus minutes a game. But, I mean, come on, look against Portland. 36 minutes, he only got you 2 points, 2 rebounds, 6 assists. Like, what the hell are you really doing, bro? Just standing in the corner? Like, that's kind of the thing about it is he hasn't scored at least 10 points in 3 straight games. It's causing him to have, a lower price tag and, fantasy point outings hasn't really been there. I definitely think he's a really good GPP play because this is a really good buy low opportunity for him. And we know this guy can score the ball, knock down some threes, and fill up the stat sheet. So I definitely think the Eagles is a good GPP play. Throw in Crowder, Rudy Gobert, Donovan Mitchell, and that's really it for me, man.
I just want to point out one last thing, and that is a couple of maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, we did a video and we were talking about the spot Jokic was in, and you were saying the guy had 40 fantasy points and he didn't even score 10 points, but he had 16 assists and 10 rebounds. It was against Utah where he had 16 assists, 10 rebounds, only scored 7 points. This guy just brings so much to the table, and the more I look at this game and the more I look at this spot, I wouldn't say go crazy with loading Jokic up tonight, but I would tell you this. Don't be surprised with all the value that's on the board today if Jokic doesn't have a monster game and isn't in the winning lineups tonight.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Like I said, tough matchup to score on Gobert, so why not just drop some dimes? Hey, makes sense to me. But, hey, that's all we really got for you guys. 10-game slate broken down. Definitely think that we, hopefully that we helped you guys out and kind of got you pointed in the right direction on what to do tonight for this 10-game slate. If you got any more questions, feel free to hit us up in the comment section down below. Me or Jeremy will get to them questions as soon as possible. Thank you guys very much for checking out this video. And if we don't get talk to you guys before then, good luck on your contest tonight. And, hey, peace out, everybody.